Hello, Marcus.
Hello.
I just hoping that Las Vegas is going to come online here shortly.
Yeah, it's.
Uh,
Do I
oh,
have to be on? Can I be here?
yeah. Oh,
Can
I
I
can
be
see
on
you.
this Zoom? Is that
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, yeah. You're good. Your audio is good,
Okay.
and it looks like Las Vegas is now coming online too.
Nice. Where are you in Boston?
I am. We have a family wedding that we'll be attending, so I'll be here for another few weeks.
Very nice. Very nice. What's happening?
Yeah, and the weather is a little more mild, not much. We had 89 degrees yesterday, and today it's 60. So, I think it's
That can happen in that time. Yeah.
typical kind of New England weather.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't know that it's. We are also streaming on Facebook.
Yeah. So when we first started um, the club, before we were using Zoom, we were always streaming on Facebook, like way before COVID. And the reason is that first of all, people can watch it live,
Yeah.
but we also archive everything on our website. So anything that goes to Facebook also goes on our website. So if people want to watch it non-real time, they can go on and look at it later. But yeah,
That's nice.
when we first started using Zoom, we still had a large number of our members who were not comfortable with Zoom or hadn't used it, so they were watching on Facebook. Now I don't see anybody watching live on Facebook. But we still stick it on there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's learned. Everybody has learned so much and gotten so much more comfortable with virtual presence of wherever they are.
Yeah. I mean, it's been more than 2 years. Yes.
Yeah, I heard today on the radio that several companies, but the most prominent of which was Elon Musk Tesla, basically said, that's it. We want everybody back at their desk. If you don't show up, I forget what his deadline was. If you don't show up by X, we'll assume that you don't want to work here anymore. And it's like, come on back.
Yeah.
So I, it's strange because my son is here with us, having just moved to take a job in Nashville, and everybody except for the CEO and him are living in Nashville. Everybody else is all over the world.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
he's got the he had a guy in the Ukraine who is relocated to Poland. He has two people in Poland. He's got a bunch of people in Henderson, Nevada, where the company first started, who just didn't want to move. A bunch of people in California. So, they've been used to working virtually even before COVID, and they're not about to go back in the office. So,
Yeah.
we will see.
Well, especially now, I mean, I think some of the employees, especially the lower paid, they are happy if they don't have to go because the commuting is so expensive now.
Oh my goodness, yeah. In fact, one of my son's friends who is a longtime employee of Google and was living in San Jose, uh, she's moved to a couple places, but I think she's currently now in Reno, Nevada. And they basically have told these people we're not planning on any requirement for you to move, physically back in the office. In fact, we like saving the money of not having the,
Yeah.
so if you can do your job remotely, so much the better.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, it is different though. I know I found I've been using teleconferencing of various forms for about 20 years, and sometimes I'll work with somebody for a year before I meet them physically, but it's I think there's a entirely different dynamic in communications when you're face to face and you're having lunch with somebody, and you can if you do that like once every couple months and then you spend the rest of the time virtually, it works out. But if it's 100% virtually, you never really get to know the person, more than just in a professional sense. So
It's not the same.
no.
It's not the same. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
You're
it's
missing a big part of, even in doing business. I mean, you need to, I don't know, you need to connect with the person, and you need to go and have dinner with them or lunch, and talk about family and personal stuff, and
right.
know where they are coming from. And
Yeah.
very
It's
good.
it's more than, well, the technology has improved incredibly. I mean, the voice quality and the video quality, but as you say, you don't have that informal kind of dynamic where
Yeah, yeah.
you know I worked for many years for a company with 2,500 employees worldwide and 1,500 in the Boston area, and some of the most interesting interactions I had with people were not on projects but were in the cafeteria at lunch.
Yeah.
And you would sit and you would sit with people. Sometimes you weren't even working on a project, and what are you doing, and here's what I'm doing, and you get some ideas, and you get to know a little bit about their personal life, and then when it's time for the next project to come along and you're thinking about what sort of team you want to put together, you may think of people you may not have normally been involved with. So yeah, a completely different dynamic. Oh, looks like we are getting a team assembled here. We got
Yeah.
quite a
Yeah.
few people showing up. Yeah, we have another member of our club who is also got property that he owns here in Boston, and he's a giant Red Sox fan. So I imagine he'll be very jealous of me. I don't have the heart to tell him I'm not going to any of the games, but I think I'm not even sure you can get tickets. The last time I looked, it was about $100 a seat.
Yeah.
And it's about the same price for a hot dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder why it's not starting yet. Normally we are much more punctual.
No, well, we will see. It's supposed to officially starts 12:15. So this is this is the pre-assembly group. Hello, Tom.
Hi, how are you doing, Stu?
Oh, good. Harriet and I are attending our nephew's wedding next weekend, so we're
Oh,
going to spend a month here in Boston.
it's probably nice to be back.
Yeah, it's nice to be back, but like everything that could go wrong with the house has gone wrong. So we've been here since Saturday, so I spent the last 2 days with a screwdriver and a hammer. And things that just they're not like wear out mechanisms. They're just weird stuff. Like the internet router died. I went over to Best Buy and I got another one. The electronic lock on our front door, the switch is broken. I had to take that apart, replace it, and the sinks that were clogged up, and we have a housekeeper come in here once a month, and the biggest problem was my wife's coffee machine was clogged up.
Uh,
that was the highest priority. Yeah, I was very clever. I have an air compressor in the basement, and I figured, well, maybe I could take it apart and unclog the hoses, but I tried the air compressor first. I stuck it where the water goes in and gave it a blast, and after about 10 minutes, I got a half cup of gunk that came out that started working again. So I'm very proud of myself.
no, very good.
And I thought my main desktop computer wasn't going to work, but it just needed about 2 hours to catch up on all the unloaded email messages.
Heard you talking Red Sox, but are you sure you're not there for the NBA Finals?
No,
That's-
I'm
There's got to be a big buzz about that around town.
I'm a giant sports fan. I'm not even sure what teams live play here in Boston.
You're rooting for the Celtics. Your neighbors are rooting for the Celtics, so you know.
Yeah, excuse me, it's the Celtics.
There you go, the Celtics. I always wondered about that.
Yeah, actually, there was a radio talk show host who used to play on that all the time. When anyone would call in, he'd correct them. They're saying the last basketball, the last baseball game that I went to here in Boston was in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. There's a farm team for the Red Sox called the Pawtucket Red Sox, or the Paw Sox. And the difference is, instead of $100 a ticket, it's $2, and the hot dogs are 50 cents. And it's a lot more interesting baseball because they're not as good as a professional, so they keep making mistakes. So you're actually not bored by just watching the pitcher strike everybody out one after the other. I have yet to go to a hockey game though in Las Vegas, but people tell me the Silver Knights is more interesting than the Golden Knights, so probably for the same reason.
Yeah, I didn't make it to a Silver Knights game, and it's right close to where I live. It's like 7 minutes away.
Yeah,
I should check that out.
Can you even get into the Golden Knights? Are there tickets even available?
For price.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All right. You can't get them at the box office price though, right?
I don't even. I don't. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're sold out for all of that.
Yeah. Harriet had a terrific time with me. We went up to the Aviators Park up in Summerlin.
I like that. That's a good time.
We went. The game we went to was a college game. It was UNLV versus Phoenix. It wasn't even the. Sometimes they'll have like a major league game at the start for an exhibition game, and then they'll have the regular Aviators. But this was a college game, and because of that, you were able to get into the club level up at the top. You normally, you can't unless you buy season tickets. So we had terrific seats. But the best part of the game was, we didn't realize this, they've got a couple dogs that they've trained to be back boys. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I've seen those.
It's really cute.
My kid's favorite part. That's why they go.
We were sitting there for we went there an hour early to eat up at the club. And I guess they were training the dog, and we're sitting there watching kind of a disbelief. Did I really just see what I just saw? The guy threw the bat out, the dog went and got it, jumped over the chair, brought it back,
I think that should spread out to all the parks. I think everyone would.
Yeah.
Everyone would enjoy that.
You would think that would become a thing.
I thought so. I'm like, what? Because I went to another one and I thought, well, where's the bat dog? This is, don't get me wrong. I'm sure that's a nice 13-year-old going to get the bat, but I'd rather see a dog do it.
Yeah, I have not seen that at a Red Sox game. So, yeah, but Las Vegas is really becoming a sports city. I went and I picked up something at the Apple store a couple hours ago for my son. He had ordered it. He was busy working, so I went and got it. Anyhow, the guy who's helping me out there looked at my driver's license. I had to show it to identify myself to pick it up. And he said, "Oh, you're in Las Vegas." He said, "Yeah, I just came back there. I went to a Raiders game. I went out there for a Raiders game." I mean,
Wow.
it's like the conventional wisdom was Las Vegas could never support a professional sports team because they would never have enough fans. But I don't think they counted on the fact that it's a city that, even the visiting team, the people from the visiting team, they like their fans come and they come out there for the games. And
Your Boston friends might like to know, who are playing the Patriots twice this year. One preseason at home, here in
really?
Vegas. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and then we may have the Oakland Athletics, right? That
Well, fingers crossed. That'd be great. I
Yeah,
guess
in fact-
they're deciding on 2 plots of land. It's down to 2 plots of land if they come. It sounds like they're.
Yeah, I have a feeling the Oakland is so woke that they'll never allow them to build build there. They're asking for ridiculous. The athletics were originally the Boston Athletics.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and the Atlanta Braves were originally the Boston Braves.
That sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, we went to the stadium down there, and they have a little museum, and they have pictures of what it was like when they were here in Boston. Looks like we're getting close to a start here.
I used to have a lot of customers there in the Oakland port, on the port of Oakland, where they're going to completely redo to put the stadium there. And just with real estate being the way it is and all the environmental cleanup, that is a monumental engineering feat if they do decide to stay.
Well, the government there is really conflicted because they've got all this woke presence. Oh, here we go. I'm going to go on mute. We do not have audio, though. I'll see if I can message somebody.
Months, and I keep forgetting to turn on the microphone. Sorry about that. My name is Mike Ballard. I am the 99th president and about to be, in about 4 weeks, the immediate past president of the Greater Las Vegas Rotary Club, the most awesome Rotary Club in the world. It's June. Summer's officially started. We have a great meeting today. Welcome all our past presidents here. I saw a few that I haven't seen in a while. We love having you here. We love the service you provided. We're grateful for that. We'd like to start with a patriotic song. Brock Fraser is going to lead that. We'd invite you and Jackie Thornhill to come up. And we'll go from there. And we get to do one of my favorites, America the Beautiful. If you all join with me. Oh, beautiful.
In light of what's been going on all over our country and all over the world, I decided a prayer for unity would be appropriate. God of peace, we invite you to preside over this meeting. Even if we have different opinions, give us unity of spirit. Help us to each listen politely as others share their points of view. Help us to work as a united team in combining ideas for a great outcome. Help us to work as a whole rather than as individuals trying to promote their own agendas. May we have a spirit of camaraderie in this room and work together on our shared mission. Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, I would like us, before you sit down, if you don't mind, please stay standing just for a second. I would like us, if you wouldn't mind, going over the four-way test. Can we do that together? What? Okay, ready. Number one, is it the truth? Was it fair to all concerned? Will it build good friend? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Great, thank you. Yay, please be seated. Okay, you know, as I've been thinking about my term of service as your Rotary president, I just wanted to say there are so many people that serve in quiet little ways that I am so appreciative of, and I think we all are so appreciative of. One of those things are the people that step up all the time for our weekly meetings. I'd like to recognize those people today. Michael Mewborn and Kathy Mahan for setup. Our greeter was Antoinette Monroe. Brock Frazier for our song leader, Jackie Thornhill for the invocation. Our raffle ticket sales. I thought I saw Karen Wisenhunt doing that. Thank you very much. Our Sergeant of Arms today will be Allison Wexler. Allison, get ready. Okay, Steve Latta and John Pally will help with teardown today. And our scribe today, I'm not sure who our scribe is today. Tony Kern is our scribe, and our photographer is Mr. Tucker, past President Jim Tucker. Thank you very much. And our AV team was David Jones and Stu Lipoff and Kirk Alexander. Some combination of those three. Please, please give a warm thank you. Okay, do we have Rotarians visiting from other parts of the world here today? Wait a second, we have a few. I saw Ryan. I saw David. No, we glad you're here. Any other Rotarians at all? Any visiting Rotarians at all? Visiting Rotarian, great. Introduce yourself. Where are you from?
Brian Riley. I'm here again from Kona, and I guess I'll be joining the club in a couple weeks.
Great. Looking forward to having you. Now you're going to be required to bring us all to Kona so we can do the background check, especially the past president. Got it. Okay, guests of Rotarians, we have a few. Okay, let's start on this side with Bill Houghton and that.
I'm Bill Houghton. I'm president-elect of the greatest Rotary Club on the planet. And I'm so excited to have as a guest for the second time, a soon-to-be member, if her interview goes well, of the Las Vegas Rotary Club, Dr. Priscilla Johnson.
Great, welcome. Okay, any other guests of Rotarians on this side of the? Okay. Okay, Rick.
Hi, my guest is Andrew. This is his last time as a guest, so he'll be with us next week. And yeah, Andrew's with U.S. Bank.
Great, we can't hear. We're having trouble hearing.
And can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Andrew, this is his last meeting here as a guest with
Great.
U.S. Bank Wealth Management.
Awesome. Super. Welcome. Glad to have you. Okay, any other guests towards the middle over here? Okay, let's go to this side. Allison. Tony, thank you.
I'm happy to, excuse me, introduce, pardon me, John Newhart. He is visiting various clubs here. He's been in Las Vegas from California for about a year now, and a former Rotarian in both Cincinnati and in Southern California in the Point Loma area. And his business is DR4, DVC Vapor Cleaner.
Got it. Well, welcome. Sorry that it took you so long to realize you needed to be in Vegas, but we're glad you've been here at least a year.
Yeah, I moved from California a year ago, and I was here within a week or two. He moved from California a few months ago and was here within a week or two. Come on. Yeah. All right. Well, we're glad you're here. All right. So I have a guest I met through David Chu, and he is a Army veteran. He is with the FBI, and this is Dr. Steve Pace.
Great. Welcome, Dr. Pace. Okay, any other guests of Rotarians? Okay, great. Thank you very much. We have a birthday table, and I'm going to head over there because my birthday was yesterday. Great. So we're going to ask all of us at the birthday table. Anybody have a birthday in June that's not at the birthday table? Great, Rick. That's $100. Thank you very much. The foundation appreciates that. So you guys probably know more about me than you want now, but born here in Las Vegas at Nellis Air Force Base. Raised here my entire life, been a member of the club. I think it's 27 years now. 27 years and 3 months, pretty much almost exactly. So great.
Hello, fellow Rotarians. My name is Jim Hunt. It was my honor to be the president of this club in 2000, 2001, and to participate in all the Santa Claus since the very beginning and be chairman for 15 years. I love this club. I love everybody in it. It's in my extended family. 2 milestones for me. I joined this club in 1992 when we have so many great new younger members. At that time, I was the youngest guy in the club. I was 30 years old. So you can do the math and you'll know how old I am. It's 30 years later. So it really is an honor. I love you all. And without joking at all, this is the greatest Rotary Club in the world. Believe me.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Gary Voss. I joined the club in 1976, back in the last millennium. Can you hear now? Okay. My name is Gary Voss. I joined the club in 1976, which is the last millennium, back in the days when the Rotary Club was just a bunch of barbarians disguised. And I've enjoyed being a member. I'm a native Las Vegan. I grew up here. I did go away to University of Utah and let the taxpayers, the state of Utah, pay for most of my college education. Then I came back to Las Vegas and I've been here ever since.
Hi there, Jackie Thornhill, also privileged and honored to serve as the 97th president of the greatest Rotary Club in the world. And this September will be 12 years in the club, and my birthday is on the 27th.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. My name is Dr. Nikki Bates. I have been a member of this club since February of 2019. I am also pretty much a native Las Vegan. I came here when I was about 1 month old and have been here ever since. I won't tell you how long that is. However, I'm just a couple years younger. On Monday is my birthday, and I will be 2 years younger than you. That's it. I'll let you do the math. All right.
Good afternoon. I'm Tony Craig. And I just learned that I am by far the least qualified person at this table. Doctors and past presidents. Joined in March, born and raised in Ohio, lived for 20 years in North Carolina, and have been here for about 1.5 years. Glad to be here.
Name's Adric Akupi, been in the Rotary since March 2020. Birthday is June 20th. I'm a Gemini. So and some cancers here too. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, everybody, you can sing for yourself as well, by the way. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rotarians. Happy birthday to you. Great job.
That was awesome. Do we have anybody online whose birthday it is? Ginger, Nikki, Barbara. Tom Crow. I'm sorry, we forgot to recognize you, Tom. Can you tell us when you joined the club? You're one of our more tenured members.
Hopefully the
Hey,
audio is on.
is he muted? Okay, Kirk or David Jones, do we need to unmute him? Tom, can you hear us?
I can hear you fine. Can you hear me?
We don't hear you yet. So
Okay.
there you go, Tom.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Doesn't look like it.
Yes.
You can hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, joined Rotary 1986, 36 years ago. I was president of this club 2000, 2001. And had my birthday on Sunday this year. I'll be 72 years old. Born in Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
Great, welcome. Awesome. Super. Okay, we have several announcements. Karen Allison, no sitting, come on. Karen Wisenhunt, past president.
I'm so tall, if I don't sit down, I'm gonna block the view.
Yeah.
Just a reminder that tomorrow at 11:30 is the spouses luncheon at the Grapevine Cafe, and that's on Lake Mead in Buffalo. So also on your tables and at the front, you'll see a flyer with a list of items that you can bring weekly to the club. If you have things like shampoos, toothpaste, that type of stuff, we will repurpose it back to the USO, Salvation Army, and Share Village. So bring them in on a regular basis. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, David Squire, you got something going this weekend. What do we got going? Yeah, Jerry and you.
Hello. Hey, glad to be back. Nice to see all your faces again. Miss you guys. Love you. Hugs, kisses, all that. So we have highway cleanup this week. It's Saturday morning at 8 a.m. If you haven't done it, I think it's the coolest thing we do. We actually get out, get up, we get sun on our face. We walk a 3-mile stretch of red rock, and we pick up trash, right? So, and we get a lot of thank yous. That's the cool thing. I mean, those of you guys that have done it, everybody waves and says thank you, and that's fun and fulfilling, and it really is a cool event. So we do that. We work hard. We get a little bit of sun on our face, and then we reconvene to Jerry's house, where we throw the biggest party of the year. Always, right? It's always the biggest party of the year at Jerry's house. So this year we have hot air balloons coming in with go-go dancers. We will. What else do we have, Jerry? The petting zoo. We did that. So no, that's no fun.
Great eggs, great fruit.
Yeah.
Great meats, breakfast meats, great
cocktails. Cocktails. So yeah, we have a great time doing the cleanup, and then we follow up at Jerry's house for great. The fellowship is the best. I think everyone would agree. We get together, we love each other, we have good food and have fun, and yeah, it is really cool. So if you want to come, we will be there. We will be at Red Rock at 8 a.m. on Saturday morning. It's right across from formerly Bonnie Springs, directly across. There's a little pull out there. Park your car there. You'll see us.
You'll see them.
And we'll rock it out. So thank you for those of you that have signed up, and those of you that want to come, please do.
Super. Hey, thank you very much, David. Thank you, Jerry, for doing that as well. It is a great time, and don't let them scare you. It's not 3 miles. We have 2 groups that go 1.5 miles each. So it's only 1.5 miles. Got it. No problem. Okay, we have Bobbin. Are you here? Barbara, are you here? David Jones is here. I see him. Do you have any 25 Club announcements? Got it. No problem. They're having a get together, I think, in a week and a half. We'll have more info later. Okay, our district conference in Indian Wells. It is coming up on the 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th. I'm showing up Friday, saying 2 nights, leaving Sunday. We've probably got, what, 18 signed up now? With spouses, we got 20. We're going to have some fun. We got a hospitality suite. Carrie Groves has been working hard on our hospitality suite. So that's going to be awesome. Mr. Jost. Where is Richard Jost? Past President Richard Jost. Allison Wexler, our Sergeant at Arms. Come forward, please. Yeah, he's right in front of you. There you go.
Thank you, President Mike. And thank you to everybody that's already signed up for the debunking party on June 30th. We're going to have a fabulous menu. And so anyone who hasn't yet signed up, who's planning to come, please sign up quickly so that we can get an accurate count. And in addition to the fabulous food, we're going to have fabulous entertainment. And if any of you are feeling sporting and want to help President Mike leave or be debunked, please bring your bathing suit.
It's the coronation of President Queen Katie. So great. Speaking of Katie, Allison, why don't you go visit with Katie about her year. We should have all received an email yesterday, and if you haven't, look for it. Should not be in your spam folders because she's not a spammer. Katie, what do you got to tell us?
Okay, the new pledge forms went out. Please sign them and get them back to Sean. She really needs to have your signature on those.
Yeah.
She'd like to have them today, so it's easy before you leave if you could do that. And also, we are getting ready to kick off our centennial. So anybody who would like to volunteer to work with us on the centennial, we're looking for marketing people. We're looking for people to get sponsorships, event planners. We're having a meeting on the 16th after this meeting. So get a hold of Janice Lenke and join us and help us plan a big party.
Hey, thank you. Thank you, Past President Katie. I think my second to last announcement is our foundation. We appreciate your continued contributions. We're at 20,000 left to hit our 100,000 goal. We got 4 weeks, folks. And I know a couple of you are contemplating bigger transactions. We appreciate that. So we're so close. Let's make it happen. And then Arlene Sarah came up to me with this wonderful loaf of bread, and I thought, wow, that's so nice. I get to take home some bread. And she said, no, you're going to auction it today. And so I'd like to start the auction off at $10. Anybody, we got $10. 20 right there, Past President. Got it? I got 20. Do we got 25? 25 from 50. $50. Do I got 55? 55, 55. Going once. Past President and incoming President Katie Crockett. No problem. Going once. Going twice. Sold. Thank you, Katie.
I take it they're on break. We should be able to talk to ourselves, and if they don't like hearing us in the room, they can turn us down. The one thing I missed in our Las Vegas apartment is we have a bread machine here in Boston that we bought a number of years ago, and I forgot how good fresh baked bread right out of the oven is, compared to what you buy in the market, even if it's a couple hours old.
Yeah, it makes everything smell so much better too.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. the machine we have is like kind of, you throw everything in and walk away because it goes through the cycle of mixing the ingredients, then slightly warming it so it'll ferment, then it punches it down, then it goes through another rise cycle, another punch down, and then it actually turns the oven on and bakes it. But you get kind of a weird shaped thing because it's, this round chamber that's doing it. So we'll typically take the dough out after it's ready to bake, and then we'll put it in the oven conventionally and make it look like French bread. But boy, is it good. Have a pizza recipe with olive oil. The French bread recipe is just flour, water, yeast, and salt, nothing else. And the white bread has got eggs in it and stuff. And it's not as good as an ice cream maker, but it's still pretty good. And the other amenity I missed was our outdoor barbecue. We can't do that in our apartment. So we did hot dogs and hamburgers over Memorial Day weekend.
You can't do it on your patio there?
No, it's funny. The CCNRs say no open flame. Now I don't know whether we have an electric grill that heats from the bottom. That may or may not be in violation of the First Amendment. I'm not sure. It's not quite the same when you're doing it over an open flame. You're all equipped for a party, Tom. You've got to. You could host a paid event.
Yeah, we like our barbecue. We use it a lot.
Yeah. It's funny, we hadn't been in the freezer in 2 years here. Weren't sure whether or not, anything that was there was, so we did buy fresh hamburger, but my wife noticed a package when we first, arrived on Saturday night, looked like a bunch of hot dogs. Very well, it's been frozen for 2 years, probably be fine. Went down to cook them, and it turned out it was one of these blue ice gel packs. It looked like a hot dog pack, so had to run out at the last minute to the supermarket. There weren't too many open on Memorial Day. Get a package of hot dogs. And we weren't sure the car was going to start. That's been sitting for 2 years. That popped up with no problem. So was plugged into battery maintainer. Who is speaking today? I didn't look at the program.
We didn't get a wheel this week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we haven't been getting wheels lately. I should have somebody at the club bring one home for me.
Renee, the calendar that was handed out at the last board meeting showed that this month was supposed to be the construction activity, but usually that's aligned with the Salvation Army food drive. When that's not in June, is it?
I don't know what you're talking about, sadly.
Oh, all right. So there's an
That's
event.
the first I hear of it.
Yeah, there's an event that I didn't know about until I don't know, 6 months ago when I looked at the calendar that Sean handed out, and it had something on there called construction. And I asked her what that is. She said, well, we haven't done that in a while. But it was an event that was aligned with the Salvation Army canned food drive. And each of our sponsored schools in the classrooms were supposed to collect cans from the kids. And they were supposed to build build a structure and they would go around and the teachers would then vote on which one had the most interesting kind of structure, and they give them some sort of award. And so I know our education committee is planning on doing that whenever we're going to do the canned food drive. But I noticed in the calendar that was handed out, it showed that the event was supposed to occur, I think, June, July. And I don't remember when the Salvation Army Kiwanis thing is. When do we do that?
That's for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so I don't know why it's listed this time of year.
Yeah, because the schools aren't open anyway, so the kids wouldn't be able to do it at school.
Yeah. Yeah, it must just be, printed in the wrong place in the. But I know the very last time we had the food drive, it was time for one of the schools, I think it was Beckley or Bracken or something, to actually try and do it. And they had a good time. They brought photographs in of, building these towers.
Sounds like a great way to gamify giving for children. That seems like a perfect, like a win-win all around. It'd be pretty fun to see those structures. But yeah, that's I don't recall ever hearing that. And also I always feel like we're kind of like in a silo as we're doing like youth programs, and then all of a sudden you find out that in parallel and another group has been doing something kind of with the community as well. And like, oh, that would have been great had we known about it, so we could pool our resources and make it an even bigger thing. And this sounds like one of those opportunities, because I maybe someone else is working on it, and that'd be good just to put all of our resources together.
Well, certainly Kiwanis does it with us, and I don't know if they have relationships with any of the schools. I'm not sure how they work, but I always find it's interesting whenever we're traveling. I'll try and go to one of the other club meetings I haven't been to before, and you always find some particular thing that they're doing that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Some of them are really small clubs, and so they do things that aren't practical. Like a lot of them do these happy dollar things where they go around and and we do it with fines instead. But yeah, the local club here in Newton, Mass, has been meeting only virtually. I attended a couple of their meetings, and they had some cool stuff. They were handing out business cards to give to members to help them recruit new members. And it was like, it's a free lunch card.
You did that. I remember those.
Yeah.
I handed out one of those cards a few years ago.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen them around recently.
Yeah. So when I went to the Newton Club meeting, I saw that, and then I had those cards printed up and I brought them back to our club. So that's where the idea came from. Yeah, I still have a bunch of them. I should bring them in again and leave them out for people. Speaking
of other meetings, on Tuesday, our speech contest winner is going to go up against, I think, the Summerlin Club or Las Vegas West, one of the two. There's only one other that's going to compete for region. So I'm going to go to that on Tuesday, to the Las Vegas West meeting. And I think I'll send an email out just to the group just to say, hey, if you're interested, let's go and show our support. Just last time I did that, like maybe it was because of Pahrump too. I just got crickets. No one wanting to. So I don't want to email blast everyone and have people say, man, this Renee really wants us to go to other meetings for some reason, when it's more of just I want to make sure that you're aware of it, because I remember sitting there at some lunch meetings going, oh, I wish I would have known that. I would have seen if my calendar would have fit with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Somehow
she'll go to a district.
Somehow the email that Sean sends out with what's coming up usually has more information in it than actually published in the wheel, and somehow they're not out in sync. And the best way, I think, to get people made aware of activities is to have them in the weekly wheel, because they pick up that hard copy, and they may or may not go through their emails. But I've been
that's a good point.
I've been taking whatever is in Sean's email combined with what's in the wheel and trying to make a composite of it, and I send it out at the end of each month. But sending it out once a month is, at the beginning of the month, which I just did. I didn't have that four-way speech contest thing in it because I didn't know about it. So
I
it's-
announced it, I think once, or I think I announced it once a couple of weeks ago. So
yeah,
there's just so much that goes on. It's hard to keep it all in line. Keep it all it's synchronized, especially.
the one thing I learned at that Apple Valley event was the DASB, I guess it is, that we really don't make much use of. We have our membership directory on it, but it's got a facility for calendar.
I mean,
that
the
we
DAC DB?
Yeah. And it's got a million different functions. You can mass email people. You can have your website on it.
In Monterey, we took attendance that way. We
Yeah,
had barcodes on every badge. I know because I was part of their 25 club when I joined in, and I was responsible. I was the only one that felt comfortable scanning everyone in. But you had to buy a module in DACDB to synchronize it, so that way you didn't have to keep track of. Oh, I was there that day. I wasn't.
I did. They didn't even mention that facility, but having our club calendar on there. So we do have it on our website, but again, it's not as current as what Sean sends out. But what I learned is you can keep your club calendar on DASB, and then there is an API on your website that'll go fetch it, and it'll then duplicate it on the website. So the nice thing about having on DASB is you can look at all the other clubs in the metro area, and you can see their entire calendar on one page, and then you can click on the individual club, or you can click on the individual date, and it'll show you the 3 clubs on that day that are doing something, and then you can drill down. And so that's a way you can inform people about something that maybe is happening in another club that they may be interested in. I know the Summerlin Club seems to be into a lot of speakers having to do with business and commerce, and they occasionally have a speaker that I want to go to listen to. I think we're coming back online here. I'm going to go on mute.
Okay. Money, money, money. Okay. We got, break out your raffle tickets. We have for the chance to win the pot, which I believe is over 40. Well, it's probably over 4,600 today. You get half the pot if you call your number and you successfully pull a joker out of the deck. The number is 847-7068. Last 4, 7068. Hey, Randy! We're down to about 30 cards. Need the joker. I'm counting on you. Hey, show everybody. Rip it up. Okay. As a consolation, he gets $10. Okay, now for $50 in Rotary gift cards, we have the last 4 digits, 7022. 7022. Hey, past President Jim Cole. Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to take a moment and introduce our speaker. I met John Lynn about 16 years ago when I was asked, and I think Tom Thomas was also one of the judges then. The state had put together a business plan competition, and we were to judge students from all around the state their business plans. And this gentleman, Mr. Lynn, won for a company he designed or proposed called Fantasy High. And I think he was a master's student at UNLV at the time. And it was about high school sports. And we ended up visiting with him afterwards. And I remember I said, okay, we got about $50,000 in prizes, maybe 10 or 15,000 was cash. And then it was office space for a year, legal services, accounting, all kinds of other services. And I said, okay, when are you going to get it started? And he said, oh, my wife says I'm taking the money and we're buying furniture. And so he ended up, and I don't know why, but the RJ started a business plan competition. And basically they have papers in a couple different states. And I had the privilege of judging that. And he had a totally different business plan for a totally different business idea. And he won that as well. So he is truly an entrepreneur. The more I visited with him, I learned that he started writing a blog that he'll tell you more about his story. And I just find this fascinating about So You Think You Can Dance. I believe that was your first blog. And he propelled that into a successful business to where now he travels the world. He's basically invited to finals of several reality TV shows. Please help me welcome Mr. John Lynn.
Thanks, everyone. Excited to be here. You know, when I was in part of that competition, I looked at, there was this panel of judges, and there were 5 of them, and 4 of them were dressed to the hilt with ties and suits, and there was one in t-shirts and jeans, the founder of Zappos. And I looked at him, I said, I want to be him. So therefore, you know, I'm on brand for a blogger, right, to be here in jeans. But, you know, someone came up to me and they heard I was the speaker. And they said, well, you're kind of young to be a speaker at this event. And I said, yeah, well, you know, it turns out it doesn't really matter in the online world. And that's what I'm going to talk about today, is that, you know, I was a nobody in Las Vegas that was blogging and was writing about different industries. And I didn't deserve any of what I accomplished. But guess what? It didn't matter at all. In fact, on one of the blogs, it was a healthcare IT one, which I'll talk about a lot, and I'll mention some of the So You Think You Can Dance as well. But when I was doing the healthcare IT one, I was young and I looked even younger. And so I didn't put my picture there at all. For the first like 10 years, I said, forget about it. If I put my picture there, they're going to judge me inappropriately. And so I'll just write content and judge me on the content of my blog, not, you know, what you think you should think. So I literally didn't put it. I went to a conference one time, and I go to this conference, and these people said, hey, do you want to do lunch? And I said, sure, great. I'll go to lunch with them. And I go to lunch and I sit down with them, and they're like, hey, so on your blog, on the EMR and HIPAA, which was the original name, you know, it's so great. And I was like, yeah, well, when I write the content, you know, this happens and whatever. I'm telling him the story about it. He's like, wait, you write the content for the blog? And I'm like, yeah, you know, I have a few guest writers occasionally, but yeah, most of it I write. He's like, wait, no, like you write the, he's like repeating himself. And I'm like, yeah, I write it all. He stands up, kicks the chair back, puts his hand across, shakes my hand. He's like, I thought you were this middle-aged, disgruntled man that was writing, that was a doctor. And I'm like, well, I'm not middle-aged and I'm not a doctor. Maybe disgruntled, I might think that. But anyway, it was just fascinating, right? And this is what I hope you can take away from what I share with you today, and the story I share of my experience is, you know, that power comes not necessarily from your age, or not even if they deserve it, but the technology that we have today, which I'm tech guy on Twitter, if you notice that, you know, I'm a tech guy by background. Technology has enabled anyone to have an audience, and whether they deserve it or not. You know, I think about Newsies, right? in Newsies, there's this great scene with Hearst, and he's like, I tell them what's news. Or he's like telling them, I'm in charge of what they think about, right? And I tell them what to think. And you're like, well, guess what? This is a principle that's been around forever. Back then, he was the only one who had distribution to be able to share that information. And so the paper did say, I tell them what to think about, I control the narrative, whatever it might be. Well, with technology, with social media, there's lots of opportunities, and a lot of us have platforms that we didn't have before. But here's where I want to start, and this is something I think about and how I approach business. Is I think about Hunger Games. How many have seen Hunger Games, the movie, or maybe read the book? I haven't read the book. I only watched the movie. I love the story, right? Because it's just like business for me. In business, you get there and people are doing anything and everything they can to win. There's basically no rules in Hunger Games, right? Like you can do whatever you want. You can literally kill people. That's the game, right? And then Katniss, the heroine in this story, she gets there and she has morals and ethics and values. And everyone around her, not necessarily all of them, but a bunch of them are doing anything and everything to try to win. But she's like, I have morals and ethics and values. Well, why do I love that story? It's she has morals and ethics and values. She only kills people when they're trying to kill her, right? Really self-defense. She does that. And the thing I love most about this story is she wins, right? And that's how I feel like I am with business, is I look at it and say, I have morals and ethics and values that I want to hold that are important to me. And there's a lot of people around me that aren't, and they're not doing that. And so I'm like, okay, well, how do I do this? Well, as you see, I'm a blogger. You may have read my bio. That's how I started. I started a blog, and I started writing about healthcare technology, which was actually the first one. So You Think You Could Dance came after. Although actually, anyway, this is a lot of details. But so I'm a blogger, right? And I started blogging about 16 years ago. And I just did it on a whim. I was working at UNLV, and I was learning about electronic medical record. I was like, let me share some of my insights with people. I was learning. I was working hard. I was trying to learn and experiment. And so I started doing it, right? And here is the first site I ever created. This just shows you where I came from. And this will give you a feeling for maybe who's competing with you. It's someone like me that started off just playing around, just having fun, just doing stuff. So this was my first site. It was called EMR and HIPAA, but I was so cheap, I didn't even want to pay the $10 a year for the domain, emrandhipaa.com. And I already owned this crashutah.com, which is its own story. And so I just did it crashutah.com/EMR, right? I mean, this shows you how serious I was about what I was doing, right? But it turns out this is the reality today. I was just hustling. Now, I worked really hard on this. In the first 6 months, I had posted 1,000 times on another forum trying to drive traffic to my site. I was creating links on hundreds of other sites to try to build my ranking. I wanted to be on the first page of Google for EMR. EMR is electronic medical record, if you don't know. And when I first started this site, I clicked on one of the ads, which is illegal. Google doesn't know that I did this, but I did, all right? It's not real, right? But and I saw that click was worth $2, whereas every other click on every other site I'd done previously was like 2 cents, 5 cents, or 10 cents. Wow. I clicked it here, it was like $2. I'm like, let me see how much traffic can I drive to this site. And I started working. I was doing my master's, the classes were totally boring, so I just worked on this during class, right? And I just was hammering away at this and learning. And I built it, and I achieved it. I made it to the first page of Google for EMR. Now, EMRs are amazing, right? The cheapest EMR you can find is maybe $100,000 up to $10 billion. Thank you, VA. EMR is electronic medical record. So what the doctor uses to document your patient visit, replace all the paper charts, right? And so I wrote about this and I shared it. I made it to the first page of Google, and I was getting 1,000 page views a day. And I was like, wow, I've been pretty successful. And I was making a check every month, and it was basically date money. I was still just playing and learning, and how did this work, right? And then I thought to myself, if I'm a doctor, do I go home at night and read about electronic medical record? You're like, no, I don't want to read about this crap. Like, and I thought, okay, maybe that's the whole market, right? It turns out I was totally wrong. Like, but at the time I was like, hey, maybe that's the whole market. And so then I was like, let me go explore some other things, because the cash wasn't just falling in my lap. I made it to the first page of Google. This is an important area. This is an important movement, but the cash wasn't there. So I was like, okay, let me go explore some other areas. And I discovered something called paid posting. How many people have paid for someone to post content about you? Wow, only a couple people? Well, at the time, it was a really controversial thing. There was a site called paperpost.com. Now it's called IZEA. But at the time, it was really controversial. I wasn't even sure if it was legit. It was so scary, although some big people had mentioned it, so it felt pretty good. I gave them fake info, right? Like I'm giving them a fake social because I'm like, I don't even know if this is legit, but it turns out it was. It was fully legit. And, there's questions about paid content. My PR friend over here could talk to me about that. But anyways, and so I hopped on there and I ended up finding they had something for So You Think You Could Dance. And for some reason on this throwaway blog that I'd created when I was just experimenting, I'm a tech guy, right? I'm experimenting. I had written an article about So You Think You Could Dance and Heidi Grosskreutz, who had done this amazing dance. And so I copied from there the link to So You Think You Could Dance. I pasted it in my post that I'd already done, and I made $10. I was like, wow, that was nice, right? Like copy one link and make $10. I was like, I could see some potential here. And so I started posting all the time on these paid posts. Well, it turns out in between each paid post, you need to do an unpaid post because no one wants to read a bunch of paid posts, right? At least that was their theory. It's gotten a lot more. In fact, we should do a whole thing on sponsored articles, but that's a different topic for another day. But I started doing it. And every unpaid post I was doing about Dancing with the Stars, about So You Think You Could Dance. So You Think You Could Dance I did originally, Dancing with the Stars later. And I made it to the #1 blog on WordPress.com. I was beating out Robert Scoble from Microsoft, Scobleizer, if you follow the tech scene. I mean, eventually I beat out CNN blogs on there that I had more traffic. In fact, they ripped me down one day because I had paid stuff. And so anyway, there's a lot more, but I moved it to another site. And then I was like, but I want the traffic from WordPress.com because I was getting so much traffic. So I created what would essentially be called a splog, a spam blog, where literally all I would post was posts about it and links to my other site. And my splog, my spam blog, made it to the #1 site on WordPress.com because everyone wanted to know about So You Think You Could Dance. They had good at search engine optimization. I had obviously done that, and it was just amazing how it blew up. And so I grew up, but then I learned another lesson. I was like, okay, I'm getting 50, 60,000 views a day on this TV site, but it turns out, what do they want to buy? Maybe a $1 iTunes song, right? And I make 10 cents. Yeah, okay, I have 10 times, 100 times as much traffic, but they're just not worth as much, right? So I discovered two things. One, how could I generate a bunch of traffic? And then on the other one, I discovered, hey, these ones are much more valuable. Doctors are more valuable than someone watching Dancing with the Stars or So You Think You Could Dance. Well, 4 years later, I got lucky. And some of you might be interested in lucky, right? It turns out I don't think I was that lucky. In fact, if you think about Julianne Hough, who knows Julianne Hough? Probably seen her movies, Safe Haven. She was originally on Dancing with the Stars. And everyone was like, she's an overnight success. She went to Nashville, became, I'm doing sports, Rookie of the Year, right? New Artist of the Year. She got that her first year, and they're like, she became an overnight success. Like, do you know how many years she worked to get that overnight success, right? I mean, she trained as a dancer. She literally left her family from Utah, went to England, away from her family, lived with someone she didn't know to train to dancing so she could get on Dancing with the Stars to then be an overnight success. And in many ways, that's kind of how I feel when in my site, because I ended up getting, as part of the RS stimulus package, if you remember, Obama gave a bunch of money, I think $1 trillion or something, which feels so small these days, which is crazy. But at the time, they gave 32 billion, 36 billion, depends on how you count it, of stimulus towards electronic medical record. So all that work that I'd done for 4 or 5 years, building and being the first on Google, this is literally the traffic of my site. it was falling below 1,000 page views, and it just, I don't know, 5 or 6x overnight. I mean, this is within, within a month, it just went straight up. And you're like, oh, okay, I got lucky somewhat, right? But luck favors those who have worked hard. So how am I doing on time, by the way? Okay. I get into it, All right, thanks. And so that's what happened, right? My traffic just went through the roof. And now instead of having 3 advertisers paying me $100 a month, I now had 15 advertisers paying me $500 a month. And it just blew and it grew. Now, you look at that and you say, okay, well, I was a little bit lucky. That's fair. But I'd worked hard all those years to be in that position to take care of it. But I was able to quit my full-time job. As I say, okay, this is great. Ironically, I actually quit the full-time job to do the business plan that Mike talked about. Essentially had discovered the GoFundMe model. So the blogs were going to pay for me to do this business. Well, the blogs kept growing and growing. I remember when I went to GE and I was like, GE should be advertising here. GE was advertising electronic medical record on Meet the Press, right? On Sundays during Meet the Press. And I saw that and I was like, how in the world are they paying Meet the Press to advertise electronic medical record and they can't come and pay me for mine? Because I know I'm at the top of Google for EMR. I'm way more valuable than Meet the Press. And so I decided at a conference, I went to this conference, right? And it was called HIMSS is the conference, HIMSS. It's the big health IT conference. And at the time, I think it was getting to like 50,000 people, 1,300 vendors. GE was like, hey, do you want to come meet some of our people? And I said, oh, that would be great. And I probably did a PR faux pas because I'm not a journalist. I'm an entrepreneur, right? Like at the core, I'm an entrepreneur, and journalism or writing was just the way that I achieved my entrepreneurship. And so I was invited to GE. I said, oh, well, could I also meet with your marketing people while I'm there? And they were kind and they said, sure, that would be great. I was like, good. So I did a press interview with one of their experts, and then they introduced me to the marketing person. And I go to this marketing person, and she comes to me and she's like, oh, hey, John, I read your stuff all the time. I'm like, wait, you read my stuff all the time? How about you throw some cash? Like, couldn't you do? But I was like, I was chill, I was like, all right, good. She knows me. That's first step, right? And so I thought to myself, hey, if I tell GE what my real rates are, they're going to laugh me out of the room, right? Do I deserve to be there? Do I deserve? That's an interesting question I'm going to talk about in a minute, right? But I was like, forget it. I'm just going to create the super easy max package that is everything I could think of, and I'm just going to say it's some outrageous number. I don't care what the value is. I don't care what, I kind of looked at the value and I was like, oh, I kind of get there, right? And I'm like, it's just going to be this. And so I took it to him, and I can't remember what it was. Let's just say it's 25,000, right? I said $25,000 for this super easy package. It's the turnkey, or you could do it in one by one. Oh yeah, they responded. We want that easy package. And they were really great negotiators, right? They negotiated me down from 25 to 20, and they could have got it for 10. But anyway, that's a different story, right? And so that's when I realized, I was like, oh, I have something here, right? And I didn't understand at the time everything that I had. But I had more, at this same conference, there was another interesting incident. And it goes back to the question of, did I deserve this, right? And does someone deserve, think about the influencers that you see in the news, etc. It's like, do they deserve it? Did I deserve this nobody in Las Vegas? I didn't know what I was talking about. I'll admit that now. I knew a little bit about a few things, but I knew very little about healthcare technology, about electronic medical record. And so I didn't deserve, from a knowledge standpoint, the attention that I had, right? I didn't have that expertise. I think I've grown to that now. So if you want to talk about healthcare technology, we could, but I had to grow into that, right? And I thought about this as I was at one of the events, and this guy came up to me. His name was Jim Tate, an older gentleman, gray beard, right? He comes up to me we were talking about what he did, what I did, and some things. And he's like, John, and he sticks his finger in my chest, right? Like it was such a powerful moment, right? He's sitting there, old man, sticking his chest. He's like, John, you have influence and you better use it for good. And he kind of taps on my chest, points at my chest. I was like, wow. Okay. I mean, that was kind of a call out, right? And I'm like, then I thought about it for a minute. I was like, ooh, I have influence. And in some ways, it was like almost the realization for me of what influence that I had and his acknowledgement of what I could accomplish with the platform that I had created. And it was just a powerful thing. Now, obviously, his message of do good aligned with what I wanted. And so it was a nice reminder too that, hey, I can use this for good or evil or all sorts of things. So it was an interesting reminder for me, but it was the recognition of like, I don't think I even realized what I had at the time. And then he helped me to understand that. And I think that's what happens for a lot of influencers, right? Does an influencer really deserve it? Think about these TikTok influencers that have 5 million followers. Do they deserve it? Well, let me tell you, I mean, similar to me, I worked my butt off those first years, right? I was doing anything and everything I could, hustling to try to create the momentum I needed on search engines so that I could dominate search engines and be at the top of the search engines. So did I deserve it from, do I know what I'm talking about? Maybe not. But did I deserve it from doing the work of getting to the top of Google? Absolutely, right? I did that work. Ironically, I got one of these emails. It's super fascinating. I had an email newsletter eventually. Now it's obviously a huge part of the business. And this guy replied to my email, to the newsletter. And it was interesting because he thought he was forwarding it to his staff, but instead he replied to me. And I probably shouldn't share this story with you, but oh well, I like vulnerability. So here you go. So he replied to me thinking he was sending it to his staff. And here's what he said. He said, I don't think this guy is very smart, but he has influence. So we should listen to what he says. I mean, my self-aware self now is like, man, maybe he was right. But I thought about it then, and I had to rationalize it in my head. And we could talk about rationalization, justification. Marketers are good at that, right? But what I thought in my head is I was like, well, he had pitched me his company, and I didn't just say, oh, that's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Let me write that up. I was like, yeah, I've kind of heard that 10 times. And this, I gave him some feedback, and this is the challenges, and so he probably thought I wasn't smart because his idea wasn't, I didn't just say he's awesome and your company's amazing and cover him, right? So that's how I rationalized in my head. But I thought to myself, should I reply to him? And I sat on it for a few days like a good person should do, right? Because you don't want to reply in the moment of the emotion. I was like, I am too arrogant to not let him know of what happened, right? So I was like, I gotta reply. And so I did. I replied to him, and this is what I said. I said, speaking of smart, you may want to look at who you're sending emails to when you send them. And I hit send, right? And he replied back and he said, speaking of smart, I am not. And I was like, yes, that's right. And here's the crazy thing about this story, which doesn't apply to what we're talking about. But the crazy ending of the story, a week later, he replies to another of my email newsletters. And he says, you probably think I'm a jerk, but this is exactly what we're doing, what you're describing here. And I thought to myself, no, you've made it abundantly clear that you are a jerk. There's no, and delete, and haven't heard from him since. But anyway, it was interesting, right? Like, do you deserve it? And that's what, hopefully this message is something to give you an idea that like influence these days is distributed in much different ways. And in many cases, it's not in an admirable, it's not even in a justified, and not even in a deserving way. And so think about that, as you do your businesses. How are we on time? Okay, perfect. So I was thinking about it just to kind of wrap this up. is my friend Eric Anderson, who I'm sure none of you know unless you lived in Hawaii or Manta, Utah. He had cystic fibrosis. And I would go and do percussion therapy where I'd literally beat the crap out of him for like half an hour. And one of them, he had to go upside down and I would just beat him in his ribs. And as he would do it, yeah, he would do it sitting up and then he'd do it lying down and then he'd do it upside down. And you'd beat it here, and it would dislodge the mucus in the lungs to allow him to do it. And before he got in the one where he was upside down and hanging, and I would beat him, he's like, John, do you know why I do this one? I was like, why? He's like, it hurts. It's miserable. Do you know why I do it? He said, the reason I do it is because all my friends that didn't do it are dead. He's like, so that's why I do it. And so when I think about this, like, why was I successful? I did all those hard things that those business people didn't want to do, building the links, writing the content, writing in these forums, doing all the work that I did, understanding how search engine optimization works. I did that hard work. And I think that's an important message in business, right? And whether it's you doing the hard work or hiring people to do the hard work or whatever, I think that's a powerful message there. And I'm still learning. I mean, this is the reality for me. This is still part of my process. I just want to throw up real quick, how do you make money blogging? I won't dive into it. Oh, sorry. But if you want to talk after, we can have that discussion. Okay. Yeah. I mean, but this is the number one question I get. Wait, you make money blogging, right? And so, there's lots of ways. It started out originally, everyone wanted a link on my site because I was the first page of Google. Then we did display ads. I often miss those days that were so easy. You put the display ad up, they pay you money, they get traffic, and you move on with life, and it's good. Now it's so much more sophisticated. We're doing sponsored content campaigns. I mean, we'll do $30,000 ad packages with 3 videos and 2 sponsored pieces with us, helping them refine their message. So it's really evolved over that time. But at the end of the day, what I've learned is that I want to build assets and influence. So whether it's how many followers I have on Twitter, or whether it's number of people that are in a group on LinkedIn, or whether it's email subscribers, I want to build those assets. And each one has a different level of control and relationship. I've started podcasting. We had 0 podcasts 3 years ago. Now we have 400 and something podcasts that we've published. Well, a podcast subscriber is an asset that you've created, but you also control a podcast subscriber, and the relationship with the podcast subscriber is shared with whatever platform they use to listen to your podcast. Whereas an email you own and you have a deeper relationship. Of course, are they opening it? That's another question, right? But so this is how I look at it, is how do you build assets and influence? Because if you have the pulpit, right? If you have an audience that trust you, if you have an audience and trust, then you can do all sorts of things, regardless of what you want to sell. So I look at this and I say, well, I'm not going to become a blogger and I'm not going to do this, but there's an interesting question. Should every company be a media company and create content? Maybe. So thanks.
Can you tell them?
So Tom Bergeron is the host of Dancing with the Stars. He actually got ousted, which is its own story. He didn't get mad at me. So here's the story. They opened Dancing with the Stars live Las Vegas at Tropicana. I was able to get the PR to come and to be able to go. And they're like, do you want to go to the red carpet? I'm like, oh, no. And they're like, how about the pre-party, after party? I was like, yeah, I can party. So I went to the pre-party. I see Tom Bergeron. I go up to him and I'm like, I need to say hi, right? Like, I don't want to be a creep, but I'll like go say hi. I'm like, hey, I have some writers on Dance with Stars. They're like, they love what you do. And he's like, oh, thanks. He's like, which site? And I'm like, Pure DWTS. He's like, oh, I've read that. I'm like, wow, check. Like, that's cool. And then the guy next to him was standing there, and you could tell was with him. He's like, hey, so who's your leak? Who's your leak? Who's your source, right? because we would break. I mean, I had the Who Was on Dancing with Stars before Good Morning America. We already shared it on our site, right? And so when we shared it, anyway, I was like, who would ask that question? I just read about the executive producer. I'm really bad with names. I'm good with stories. And so I was like, but I remembered, I was like, are you Conrad Green, the executive producer? And Tom Bergeron's like, shaking his head. He's like, no, how do you know that? And anyways, and then he answered his own question. He's like, or actually he said, the thing I don't know is how do you know who the couples are going to be before we even announce it? And he's like, well, you probably just do what we do and do the stories. And he answered his own question. But anyway, so that was the adventure with Tom Bergeron. That.
I'm going to take one moment with the mic because I have it. I'm Allison, and I worked at Epic for 10 years in your HIMSS thing. I've been to HIMSS, and now I consult in the industry. And I just want to say thank you to you for your very interesting blog. As someone in the industry, it's just such a great source of information. So thank you.
Thanks for reading. I mean, that's great.
Hi, I'm Kathy Mann, and I'm a retired ophthalmologist, but my question has to do with nonprofits, because a lot of us nonprofit type people don't, I mean, we're in a generation where we're not very facile with, shall we say, Twitter, et cetera. How do we tap into this to keep organizations like Rotary and Junior League and the Assistance League alive and thriving when all of us are gone? Because we do a lot of good in the community, and it's hard to get millennials to come join
Sure.
us.
Yeah, so I mean, one is you can always hire interns, right? There's a lot of internship programs. I've had a lot of BYU interns that they have to do it for a class. You bring them in and they live that stuff, right? So that's a great way, and they're free and they have to do it for a class, right? I mean, you could pay them either way, right? So I think that's one option. The other is to just be targeted in what you do, because you can't do everything, especially in the beginning. So just think, is your audience that you want to attract more a LinkedIn audience, a Twitter, a Facebook, a TikTok, Instagram, whatever, right? And then target that. And then I'd say that my last suggestion would be creative, because that's what you have. You have stories to tell if you're a nonprofit, and tell those stories in a creative way, and you'll be surprised at how that can resonate with people.
Stay here just for a second. We've got a couple things to give you. You heard us recite the four-way test. This is the four-way test coin we give you to remember us. And then also, we sponsor 6 schools in the local area where we give clothing, shoes, books, all kinds of things. So we're giving a Show Power Award. Choose in your name to one of the schools. Thank you very much. We're going to take a picture. Thank you very much. No, we're good. Okay. If you can, take some of his time. He's generally generous with it. I mean, he's told just a tenth. He's got some amazing stories about how he did this, and he travels to Dubai annually now, 5 times, all expense paid, so he covers different events. So awesome. I'm grateful, John, for you coming. You're very well received, and thank you all for coming. Have a great weekend. Adjourned.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Oh, fill out your form. Okay, you can leave your forms at the desk with Sean. Am I okay?